This is Robert Mailing with the Sioux Empire Podcast, and I'm here with John Paulson, who is running for Sioux Falls City Council at-large seat. John, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Robert. Thanks for having me on your show. I'm a native of Sioux Falls and longtime resident, as is my wife, Jane. We moved back here 32 years ago to raise our daughter, Emily, here, and have been here ever since. I've spent much of my time involved in the community and civic projects. Jane's a mentor for a middle schooler, and we're glad to do whatever we can to be helpful to her. I graduated from the National Championship Augustana University and have many good friends from my time at school there in Sioux Falls, which we enjoy. I've just retired from a 40-year career in healthcare administration, the last 30 of which I spent at Sanford Health, and where I was the vice president of corporate administration.
I've heard of that place.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good place. Great experiences. On the community side, I've been involved in a variety of leadership roles. I participated in the 3 separate occasions with the Sioux Falls Tomorrow Planning Program that set a vision and identified key initiatives for the continued progress of our community. I served as co-chair of the Forward Washington High School school bond election, which led to the development of the new Washington High and provided the opportunity for us to have the Washington Pavilion downtown. I've also participated in a leadership role in the United Way with the South Dakota Biotech Association, Ronald McDonald House, and I'm co-chair of the McKinnon Park Neighborhood Association. I think my combination of administrative experience in healthcare and my leadership experience in the community are good preparation for serving on the City Council. I understand complex organizations and familiar with those like health systems and cities are, and I understand the legislative role that the City Council plays and its responsibilities for setting the vision, the policy, and the financial controls for the city.
Okay, my first question is about recreational spending here in Sioux Falls. Would you care to share your thoughts on that? In particular, initiatives like the Denny Sanford Premier Center, the Aquatic Center, those were the topics on Facebook that a lot of people wanted to hear about on this topic.
Well, I think the necessary spending to acquire those great venues is good for Sioux Falls in many ways. Certainly it makes it a great place to live for all of us here. It provides a real stimulus to our economy, which helps keep taxes low. And it promotes the development around the community in such a way where we can maintain a balance and achieve some things that we wouldn't be able to otherwise. One of the things that I've learned in my many conversations with people, particularly those who are younger, is that it's those kinds of things that are attractive to them here in our community. And I think that's important because we want those people to stay and we want more like them to come. And so I think it really is essential that we continue to develop our recreational and entertainment venues and amenities because it's a win-win for the community and its citizens.
Kind of keeping in a financial theme here, the next topic they brought up was infrastructure spending. And as you know, in local government, that often boils down to potholes. So you could talk a little bit about potholes and then talk a little bit about a broader sense of infrastructure spending here in Sioux Falls.
Well, I think the 3 R's of city government are roads, roads, and roads. And we all know now, coming out of the winter, that road repair is ahead of us, and that has been planned for very well by the city. They've perfected some new techniques from their experiences with it, and Obviously, it's an important investment. That's how we get around town. That's how we get to school and work. And so roads are an absolute essential part of the city spending. And I think long-term plans regarding the development of our transportation services are key in that ahead. The other aspects of infrastructure, of course, include the water treatment and services that we have done such a good job of planning for, and really have a unique advantage in terms of how we can help out surrounding communities, which again gives us the ability to keep our costs lower and give them opportunities to the quality that we enjoy here in our own community in that area. Looking ahead, I think the planning process will continue to establish needs that we'll have to provide for, and I think we're adequately funded, have an adequate amount of funding sources to ensure that infrastructure remains a priority in the city's finances.
And one more hitting on the financials, fiscal responsibility. And what I'm finding from listeners is that kind of boils down to where do you stand on, where would you vote on if you were in their shoes, the new administration building that's kind of the buzz of the city council meetings right now.
Sure. Let me start with the fiscal responsibility question because I think it's related, obviously. And I think important to remember in fiscal responsibility is what we're really striving for is taxpayer value, that we make sure they get the best possible services for the lowest possible cost. I mean, I think that really is the essence of fiscal responsibility. So that's an important view. And then just because we say no to something doesn't necessarily mean we're going to save money. So I think we really have to go back to that equation, that it's got to be what's the best value. In terms of the administration building project, I favor a project like that. The city's out of space, has some situations with locations for staff that are not adequate. We're growing, and we want to be a progressive city. And I think importantly, back to the taxpayer value question, there's expenses associated with renting. This is an excellent time to acquire the capital to provide funding for a facility. But I also want to lift up, there's other ways that we need to look at this, and that is related to some of the priorities that I believe are important to consider in looking at any decision or issue that comes before the council. First of all, is it well-planned growth? Well, it sure is in terms of looking into the future as far as a location that can facilitate the further downtown development that we want to see happen, and also intergovernmental cooperation and the promotion of that, which appears to be the case in terms of recent discussions, and could be a showcase for that and a showcase for the community in terms of what the facility could be like. The opportunity to address the future planning needs in a way that's secure would also be something that's important in consideration of it. So yes, I would favor such a project.
My final question from the listeners would be about public safety and crime. What are your thoughts on those issues in Sioux Falls?
Well, comparatively, the crime rates in Sioux Falls are lower, and we appreciate that. That's a really significant value in our community, and we want to continue to invest in our police and our fire and other public safety services, so that remains to be the case. We're also growing, though, so absolute numbers will increase, but we also have the opportunity to focus on prevention. One of the task forces that came out of the Sioux Falls Tomorrow planning process early on was a safety and crime prevention task force that brought together the judicial, the law enforcement, and the social service organizations to identify ways in which crime prevention could be emphasized and safety promoted, and we may be looking ahead to something where that would be the case. I think the work that's underway with the task force to help with the mental health issue is a good example of that. I think the most concerning area we have in this regard is drugs, and I think there's a significant focus being placed on that at this time, and interdiction that will address the concerns that we all would have with regards to that situation.
One final question from me, John. As a resident of Sioux Falls, why specifically should I vote for you?
Well, I'd like you to vote for me because you know I love Sioux Falls, and that I believe a positive approach to city government is the best for our community, that working together we can really make good things happen. And that's our tradition, and I think it's important that we emphasize that and promote it so that we can be an even better community. I also believe, as I mentioned earlier, that the combination of my administrative and community leadership experience, I think, would be valuable in the deliberations of the council and add to those as well. I also have a keen interest in serving and being involved in the decision-making that the council will be doing about the future of Sioux Falls, and I'm very committed to being part of that and would want to bring what I can to assist in the development of the things ahead that we all want for Sioux Falls.
And one last thing, do you have any websites or social media or anything that people can use to learn more about you?
Yes, they can access my website, which is John Paulson for City Council.com, or my Facebook page, www.facebook.com/John Paulson for City Council, or they can reach out to me directly on my email at jpaulson50@gmail.com.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate being with you tonight. Thank you.